Welcome back, everybody, to the second round of Wednesday Night Standard. We've got Jake Valentine, Golgari mid-range enthusiast, and our marked man of the evening on camera, Terrance.
Jake is the marked man.
Yeah, Jake is the marked man. Terrance is playing his mono black deck that we saw a little bit of last week, hoping to earn a couple extra bucks by taking Jake down.
A little bounty.
Yeah.
The old bonus.
Just a few buckaroonies.
The old bucksters.
Some buckaroos.
A little buck nasty.
Some buckswanas.
Bucks for the does.
It's going a little bit.
It is interesting, however, like bucks and does. Like doe is also money.
Sure. It sure is.
Do you have a shuffling routine?
Yeah.
Do you care to share it with us?
So I alternate 2 mass shuffles with an overhand shuffle and repeat that process anywhere from 4 to 5 times.
Okay.
How about you? I thought we were going to get into some interesting conversation.
No, so I shuffle.
We got a reader.
We got a reader.
This is that, we looked this guy up last week. It's the 1/1 flyer.
And then you can pay 2 and sacrifice him 2.
I don't think you have to sacrifice anything. You just have to tap him.
No, you definitely have to sacrifice. Can you imagine if you could just activate it every turn?
Yeah, you wouldn't be doing much.
I guarantee you have to sacrifice it. You have to tap and sacrifice it for sure.
For sure?
100% for sure.
Let's bring it up. Bring that card up. Bring that impy boy up.
The Plague Crafter on the top of the library. And
Plague Crafter on top is nice. Terrance curving out a little bit here.
I like it.
Jake's going to want to get an Explorer creature down. Pilfering Imp. Oh, you do have to sacrifice it.
Absolutely. Got one on him. Mark the date.
Pilfering Imp. Yeah. So I was thinking this card is just like too slow for what the standard decks are trying to do right now. And that's why I wasn't seeing play. But
yeah.
I was like, man, readable discard, that's pretty nice.
Usually a pretty decent card in a decent card deck.
So this would just be like a worse Nizumi Short Fang?
Yep.
I mean, not really worse because it costs 1 instead of 2, but worse in the fact that it doesn't have the flip side that turns into the rack.
Right. The old 3/3 the rack, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was a 3/3 the rack. But I think it's a perfectly reasonable. It would definitely be rare in that case, now that I think about it. You don't want too many repeatable discard outlets in your limited environment. Doubling up on the Wild Growth Walkers. And here's the Seeker Squire to take advantage.
Right. Jake getting super wild.
Gaining so much life.
Terrance missed his 3rd land drop, so that's not good for our hero.
No, he definitely wanted that to hit Plague Crafter on curve, but...
Would have been the Plague Crafter if I didn't have the 3rd land.
Yes, absolutely.
So here's Jake exploring to find a land.
Found it. Also found 6 life along the way.
Cast down.
Yeah, we're going to cast this boy down.
Jake loses a life, draws a card. Such a healthy life total.
Seems like a reasonable exchange.
The life is just so important. Like, you just... I mean, it really is what lets the deck grind. I mean, if you didn't have this buffer...
Yeah.
Certain decks would just roll you right over.
Yeah, the Explorer Shell is very good. It's become a format where this Golgari deck has become the deck that defines the format. But the decks that beat the Golgari deck are the ones that are becoming the best decks in the format, like Jeskai Control.
Right. Another land. So Jake has basically drawn 2 cards on
Gained
these
12 life.
on these Seeker Squires.
Yeah.
And it's just, I mean,
It's basically 2 Pulse of Marasas.
jeez. All right, here comes a subscriber.
Fritz Golgari.
He's on the Golgari train.
I too am on the Golgari train.
I believe you.
Haven't come off the Golgari train since Lord knows when.
Yes, probably since he got back in.
Yeah.
After Theros.
So even before Theros,
You took the Theros break.
I was all about black-green.
Sure.
Golgari all day, every day.
Yeah, it's a great color pair because it moves cards through the 2 biggest zones.
Yeah. Whoa, there's a Graveyard Marshal. We've got 3 lands. We're going to start deploying this activated ability. Get some free zombies, and by free I mean 3 mana zombies.
From your graveyard. See, I'm surprised they didn't make this a graveyard to help you out a little bit on this Golgari
It
deck.
would be a little above the power level that they wanted for a 2-drop. Maybe if it was like a 2-drop,
Here's a Finality.
1/1 or something like that. But
Clearing up the board.
yeah, Jake left with some monstrous elementals here. Not actually monstrous, for the record.
No, they don't have
none of
that any kind of activated ability.
So, the original Theros, obviously where that was from, is where I stopped playing. But there were some cards in there that I really liked.
Yeah?
Just like the flavor on a lot of the cards was really good.
Sure.
Oh, I think he's trying to... Yeah, he's trying to discard to this, but he has to sacrifice. And if
Yeah, it has
can't,
to sacrifice itself.
Yeah. So if there is something for him to sacrifice, he has to sacrifice it.
Does that make sense? No, it makes sense. Sack a creature first. Do you want to sack the Playcraft or? No, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that Plague Crusher is just going to go in the bin.
Well, he put it in his hand. He's not casting it?
We're on the actually phase.
What is happening?
So what he wants to do is he wants to cast the Chupacabra that's in his hand.
Yeah, but why does casting the Plague Crafter affect that? Like, you still want to cast the
Well, because
Plague Crafter.
he wants the Chupacabra, like whatever the big guy is, and then sack the Chupacabra to this Plague Crafter.
You know, what's the
And
difference
here's the
between
find.
having a Plague Crafter and having a Chupacabra?
So we've seen both halves of Find Finality.
Yeah. And Jake's gaining another 6 life, and we get another Explore.
Sure.
Guys are bigger.
And here's a Chupa of his own. We'll
I
put
would-
that in the bin, because you can't target black creatures with it, right?
No,
Is it
you
any
can target literally anything you want.
card's a pretty good one.
It's a pretty good one. I would still bin it, but yeah, Terrance picking it up.
Yeah, that mana stumble. I mean, I think if you would have curved out, would have been a different story.
Yeah, I don't know. It would have been less one-sided for sure. I'm surprised that we're not seeing the one-drop black explorer creature. The Deadeye Tracker, I think the name is.
Oh yeah, the one that can explore every turn.
Right, out of these Golgari sideboards, you just have so much extra mana all the time. And, like, being able to eat away at your opponent's graveyards is a big deal.
Sure, I bet you it would go a long way in the mirror.
Yeah, I mean, so it has a bullseye on its head.
Listen, they all do.
No, they don't. Is the point. Like, you don't care if any of your other creatures die.
I don't care if that one dies. It's coming back anyway. I'm going to find Finality or
Yeah, but isn't that like it comes to playability, like the rest of your deck does? So you
Yeah,
want it to survive.
Okay.
You have a vested interest in its survival.
Yeah.
For more than just biodiversity.
Yeah, no plastic straws. So, saw a funny Halloween costume a couple weeks back.
Yeah?
Guy was a turtle,
Yeah?
and he was just throwing plastic straws on the ground at the bar.
Oh, wow.
She's like, that's for my brothers.
Oh, I see. He was polluting their environment. Like we pollute the turtles.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I wish I was at a point in life that I could find humor in the extermination of species, but I take that a little too seriously.
Yeah, we're beyond that part, huh?
Yeah, we're beyond it.
What did I have? I had something there.
I don't
So
know.
we've got some events coming up here at GameSwap Mason.
Do we?
Where we broadcast from.
Do we?
At the end of the month here, on the 24th, we're having an IQ.
What?
It's an invitational qualifier.
What?
These tournaments have gotten a lot bigger.
Have they?
Yeah, because it used to be just like every Tom, Dick, and Harry would qualify for the invitational.
Oh, so the invitational is bigger, not necessarily the IQ?
No, the IQ is bigger because
Because.
they're restricting invitations to the invitational.
But
There's less invitations now, so there's less IQs.
fewer IQs.
Is that the correct? Thanks.
I got you.
Now, if you could only sit inside my head and edit everything that comes out, my life would be significantly different. I might be a doctor by now. Who knows?
Might be a doctor.
If somebody could, hold my thoughts back.
So, these IQs, what kind of turnout are we talking if they're bigger?
I don't know. Let's look. Let's see. I'm at StarCityGames.com. Let's see. Seal product, Dex. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Dex here, and I'm going to see. Hopefully they're going to show me.
So the IQ is modern, correct?
Not sure.
I'm pretty sure Star City only does modern. In weird gimmicky tournaments.
Open, classic. Oh, I guess we don't.
There's some IQs.
Yeah, invitational qualifier. All right, here's one in Fort Worth, Texas. That's a pretty sizable city. This is going to be a big number.
It is modern, for the record, and it starts at 1 p.m. Entry fee $30. Here's a link. Came up with that all by my own. $400 for first place. What?
What?
So there was at least 8. At least 8 decks at this IQ.
I was hoping it would give me like 8
which is
out of.
huge.
You're such a butthead.
Anytime you can get 8 players in one room, I am with you. Nothing
All
for
right.
the Bible quote? Nothing? Come on.
Oh, that was a stretch.
Come on.
If you really wanted it to nail in there, you'd say when 8 or more are gathered in my name.
They don't have to be gathered in my name. They have to be gathered in Star City's name.
Star City's name. Their Pete Hofling is their mist.
Render under Pete Hofling. Now just Pete Hofling's.
I would register for way more Star City tournaments if every time I handed them money, they said that to me.
All right, we're underway here.
We are underway.
How about a Sentinel Totem? We're going to hose some graveyards today, boys. Just hose them filthy graveyards down.
Listen,
Wild Growth Walker.
any card that hoses Jake Valentine, I'm
Yeah.
so in.
Is he a smelly guy?
No, I just love watching him get frustrated.
Oh.
So yeah, I thought they would put like, oh, this tournament had this many players, and here's the top 8 decks, but they didn't. So
Yeah. IQs are a pretty good way to make money. They've got pretty good EV.
Oh, do they?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What kind of attendance are you seeing at IQs? Do you know?
No, I have no idea. I
How can
used
we-
to do IQs back in the day,
Yeah.
and they were like... So I would say they're about the size of F&Ms, but F&Ms back then were like easily like 50.
Right. Yeah, so about 50-ish players.
Yeah.
And they have, I know they do pretty big prizes.
Yeah, first place is 400 Botswanas,
Cash dollars, American currency.
American currency.
All right. Paid out in American currency, or is it a check? We don't know.
When I would play them, it was paid out in American currency.
All right, fantastic.
Like some dollar bills.
Dollar bills, greenbacks.
Yeah. We're just chaining wild growth walkers here. Terrance
Tell me why they only played 2 of these.
Because it's terrible in your worst matchup, the control matchups.
Yeah.
So I mean, why would you play more? I mean, you play more on the board.
Sure.
You bring it in.
So yeah, IQ on the 24th going to be a big time. Modern.
Yeah. The other tournament is PPTQ. The next weekend.
PPTQ, the first. That's for our standard friends. Let's check the old work schedule, see where I'm at. I'm off. Maybe that'll be like my last Saturday off before I go into holiday mode.
Sure. That's a thing to do.
Yeah.
Terrance with the opposite problem here, drawing a lot of lands this
A
game.
lot of lands. Needs this Ritual of Soot.
Yeah, he would like a Ritual of Soot quite a bit here.
Although I don't think it matters to Jake. He's just gonna.
So Jake doesn't have a huge hand. He's reliant. What are we doing? What? What's even happening?
Jake wanted to turn the inner fit sleeve over. It's a smoke sleeve
Okay.
that he had on backwards.
Every now and then I get a little bit lonely. Turn around.
They've really taken this inner sleeve game to the next level.
Have they?
Yeah, so they got the smokes.
The smokes are nice and important because of all the double face cards.
Right.
I
And
just wish
for-
there were fewer double face cards.
And for people that love non-opaque sleeves.
Yeah.
I personally love opaque sleeves.
You can play non-opaque sleeves with magic back cards.
Concur. Here's a Demon of Catastrophes. It's a 6/6. It's a big boy.
What a catastrophe. It's also dead.
Ended up in the graveyard because this Ravenous Chupacabra, which also costs 4 mana, is just OP.
Just a little 2/2 boy.
All right.
Terrance down to 5. This isn't looking good.
There's Graveyard Marshal.
I'm going to marshal some graveyards here.
So yes, I agree. If all your cards are magic backed,
Yeah.
you can play an opaque, like a translucent sleeve.
Yeah, you don't even need to sleeve your deck. Just
Well-
shuffle them up. Just shuffle up 60. Head to the Star City Open.
I don't think that's how that works. You have to play some sleeve, but like you
You
know,
don't
a
have to play
pretty.
sleeve. You don't have to play sleeves.
I'm 100% sure it is
Don't have
in
to
the
play
floor
sleeves.
rules to
Nope.
play sleeves at a competitive RL.
It's not. No sleeves. Jake takes it down. The bad guys win again. We were really hoping for a Terrance victory so we could pay him out some extra money, but as a wise man once said, reality is often disappointing.
Swear my deck was working.
I don't know that anybody ever said that.
Thanos said that.
It worked last round.
Come on.
Is Thanos wise?
Beyond his years.
Oh, you suck. And I'm
Okay.
I'll show you. It's just magic.
Um.
That's what happens.
Listen, I won't have you blaspheming the name of
All right.
Thanos.
Magic Tournament rules 3.10 sleeves. Competitive and professional rules enforcement level tournaments impose additional restrictions on sleeves.
I'm not playing any sleeves. We're live. So tell them about your sleeves.
I use Dragon Shield matte blacks.
But you're not required to.
Nobody forces me to.
Does anybody force you to use sleeves at all? Tell me about your research.
Rule 3.1 of the Magic Tournament rules does not require sleeves. I'm wondering if the fresh procedure, judging irregular rules enforcement, there's counters.
No
Yeah.
sleeve requirement.
Yeah, no sleeve. I thought for sure there was a sleeve requirement at competitive rules enforcement level. So I think it's just that you can't be able to tell the difference between the backs of the cards.
Right.
And the printings are not consistent enough from one standard set to another. Like,
Right.
if you shuffled up Ixalan lands into your Dominaria draft deck, I will pick every single one of them out, even though everything's in
Call.
standard. What?
Call.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What's the wager?
I'll put up 40 cards.
Okay. 23 of them from Dominaria and 17 of them from Ixalan.
No, I'll have a mix though. I'm not giving you the out of this is how many are, And every one you get right, I'll give you $1 in store credit.
Okay.
And every one you get wrong, you give me $1 in store credit.
And I get to play as long as I want.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But we're not flipping it over one at a time. You're making 2 piles, and you're going to be like, this is Ixalan, this is Dominaria, end.
Interesting. Oh, man, this is a tough one to think about. I wonder if I could pull this off.
Well, you think about that. Our
gonna think
spotter's
about-
looking for a second match. We're going to get something else going here. I wanted to talk about Ultimate Masters.
So he told me we were talking about this, but he won't tell me the more specific topic.
I told you the more specific topics.
No, you're like, I want to talk about baseball.
I don't
And
want
I'm
to
like,
talk.
what else?
Do
What
not want to talk about baseball at all.
What element of baseball do you want to talk about?
None of it, actually. I dislike baseball immensely.
Okay.
So, Ultimate Masters is the last master set for a while.
I feel like that language is just like they're out. Like a while is a generic term.
I would be very surprised if we saw it in the next 3 years.
Is that a while in Magic time?
Yeah.
Okay.
What set was out 3 years ago? Kaladesh.
Was it Kaladesh? Kaladesh? Amonkhet? Ixalan? Dominaria? Okay, Kaladesh. That's not a while in my mind.
Kaladesh might have been 2 years ago, actually, now that I think about it. Which would put 3 years back to Oath of the Gatewatch. So, we don't have a second match, but we're going to stick with you here. Because I want to talk about this. Last Master set in a while. What is the legacy of the Masters set?
The legacy of this Master set, or what people are going to
no.
think about when we think about Master sets?
So, 2013.
Okay.
The first modern Master set comes out. The first Master set comes out. on
Okay.
paper. The goal was to get more people to play Modern.
Achieved.
To get more people in the stores buying product. Because it was only offered in stores.
Okay.
And to make Modern staples more easily obtained by affecting the secondary market directly.
Right.
To that end, after 2013, when all the dust settled, there were some issues with, distribution, how much of it they allocated to stores. the MSRP. They didn't factor in the increased demand that the interest in Modern provided for these Modern staples. So a lot of the cards actually went up a little bit in the short term.
And then definitely went up in the long term.
Well, no.
Yeah.
But no.
Okay, so they had the 5 dragons at Mythic.
How much was a Tarmogoyf before Modern Masters? The answer is like 170.
Yeah, it took 3 sets.
2.
Okay, Tarmogoyf going... All right.
So after Modern Masters came out, it dropped down to about 120 and then shot back up to about 150 between
we'll go to
2013 and 2015, and then dipped again and never recovered after the second one. Oh, we're going all the way back.
So, I mean, the furthest back is... I'm using the Modern Master one. The Future Sight one is held because it's like unique art.
It's even been affected as well. It hasn't been like a standard...
Yeah, it hasn't been like, steady as she goes. But
Right, but just the lowest price of any Tarmogoyf.
So it looks like set came out in July. It settled below 100. Oh, this is online. Set came out in July. It was over 100, stayed over 100 on July of the next year. It was flirting with $200.
Yeah.
So then, let's see. This is the next Modern Masters came out in July of 15.
15, yes.
And it started to dip only slightly.
Only slightly. You're looking at a graph here.
So it was flirting with $200 when that set came out.
Mm-hmm.
And in 6 months, it was down to about 150. 6 months after that, it was at 150. It still was like flirting with the 150 range. And then by the time, where are we at here? There's the next mod. This was Eternal Masters.
Not printed in Eternal Masters.
Right, wasn't. I'm not saying. I'm just trying
Modern Masters, the third one was 2017.
try to find the sets I'm on it. There it is. So when 2017 came out, it took another 6 months for it to drop to below $100.
Yeah.
So it took 3 printings. The first printing shot it over where it was.
Yeah, close to 200.
Close to 200.
Second printing dropped it by 25%.
Okay, and then the third printing dropped it by 33% of that.
Right.
So it took 2 additional printings to bring it back down to below where it started.
So first off, it started at like $10.
No, I'm talking about when Modern was an established format. Tarmogoyf's an important card.
Yeah, you saw what it was before Modern Masters. It was still like above 150.
No, let's do this.
Regardless, I think that a lot of the cards that they've printed in these master sets have decreased in cost and have become more available. Obviously, over time, those cards go back up because the value or the number of cards out there stays the same, and the number of people that want to play them goes up, and there's not new ones being entered into circulation.
Right.
And people aren't getting rid of their old ones even though they're not playing them, which, that's fine. But I think that the Modern Master set succeeded in that regard. I also think they succeeded in introducing people to Modern. A lot of people play Modern now. It's like the pet format of choice. I don't think it's particularly good right now, but that's more of a personal thing than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree that it is. It's nice. It's a nice format to have around
Nice.
because it lets everybody participate. Anything you want to do, you want to burn people out, you want to, you want to enchant a big creature, make one big creature with enchantments, you can do that.
Yeah, as long as you don't want to play a mid-range deck that doesn't involve Tron lands and you're set. You can do whatever you want.
No, you can do that. You're just going to lose.
Right.
You might, like, here's the thing. If I play that deck and I don't go against Tron, I might actually have a good day. You know what I mean?
Might have a good day.
Like if I play Merfolk and,
Yeah.
I can think of decks I would want to play that are, like, show up, and are 3 to 5% of the tournament.
Right.
That aren't Tron that I could win against, if I'm a Jund deck.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But the fact of the matter is that there's one deck that is closing out a lot of options. You're right.
There's multiple decks now that are closing out a lot of options. But we're not here to talk about that.
Oh, we're not? Okay,
No.
my bad.
I'm here to talk about like the legacy of these modern master sets. And we've hit on two of the major points here in that they've reduced the cost of a lot of cards. Not all of them.
Okay.
And not by like a substantial amount in the long run, but they've reduced them certainly in the short term. The last guy has pointed out that enemy fetches are the highest they've ever been, which I don't know that that's the case. They're up there. They're back up to where they were.
I think those are even going to continue to increase. Like if I had like $1,500, there's no way I would buy this Ultimate Masters product. I'd go buy near mint enemy fetches.
Okay.
I'd find the best numbers on them I could. I'd find a collector that wants to get out, something like that. I think that's going to be your value, because the reason these cards went down is because people are now expecting the reprint.
Right.
And so,
listen, I don't care how much a masterpiece is.
yeah, so the Modern Master Scalding Tarns are 90.
Yeah, they're all 90.
Yeah,
And that's fine.
all the blue ones are 90.
They were above 90 at one point.
Yeah. I mean, all right.
So here's the thing, you don't need
the
them.
expectation. All right, you're right. Beside the point, the expectation of reprinting drives the price down.
I don't think it does at all. So, I mean, we expect certain things to happen. Once we found out that this is the last modern set, it didn't make Tarmogoyf prices spike, even though it's not in this one.
Okay, so Tarmogoyf is bad in the format right now.
Listen, I'm not saying it's great, but
And
it's a card that gets
you're
a lot of
right,
play.
it's a piece of cardboard.
And other cards that are not being reprinted anymore after this aren't spiking. Like, we're not seeing this huge across the board spike because this is the last master set, quote unquote, for a while.
I would.
You would sneeze.
I would love to see a trend. I mean, put like they call it a basket in the investing world, but put a basket together.
Yeah.
Of cards that are going to go up. Like Scalding Tarn is going to increase. I would guesstimate 25% in the next 12 months.
Right.
And in my mind, on a card that's already at a very stretched point, it's already at a peak value for itself. To gain 25% on that there's like a blue chip gaining 25%. It just doesn't happen.
Right. I don't think we're going to see like these huge spikes. You might see like over time spikes just because the cards aren't as available.
I'm not talking about like flash in the pan spikes. I'm talking about things that are grinding up value over time.
Yeah, but that's not because nobody thinks that they're going to be printed anymore. It's because the demand goes up and the supply is stagnant or goes down as people leave, as those leave the card pool, and people just stop moving.
So,
around.
all right, think about it this way. If I'm a modern player and I want to move around in decks, I want to change decks,
Yeah,
I don't worry about selling my Scalding Tarns
right.
because I think I'm going to get a reprint in a couple years, right? They'll be like, oh, I'll be able to get back in them eventually. They'll get reprinted. The price will deflate a little bit. I'll buy back then.
Okay.
Now,
I don't think that mindset is correct at all, but go ahead.
people do that all the time.
Not with cards like, I mean, they might. I've never done it with a card like a Scalding Tarn. Like expecting to get it back lower.
You don't buy and sell cards as much as other people do.
Sure, but like a dealer wouldn't expect that.
I'm not talking about the behavior of dealers. I'm talking about behavior of, people that only go to stores to play Modern.
Okay. I mean, that's a mindset that I don't have, but that's fine.
I'm just saying there's a lot of people. We see them every week here. I mean, the Modern is huge here at GameSwap Mason.
It is. There's a lot of people here.
A lot of people come here just to play Modern, and I think those people are now going to hold on to their cards more. So what happens is dealers, if they want to sell the cards, they're going to have to buy higher.
I think they're already holding on to their cards. Like, I think there's a lot less movement that goes on than you think.
All right. It's not like the stock market where like they're going to do a volume reporting.
Right.
So we can ever tell.
Right. That's 100% the case. Like, so people aren't going to move.
I'm just saying we're like if we're going to disagree on that point, we're just arguing over a semantic at that point.
Okay.
Because we can't have an actual argument because we don't have actual data to argue over.
Fine. But people aren't moving on stuff like shocks right now, for instance. People moved out on shocks.
You don't know that. We don't have a volume reporting.
Okay. All right. Conversation over.
We'll
see you guys here in about 10 minutes for the next round. Stay tuned. We'll pick a good one for you.